Coming up this week on LMTV at Excelsior.
An important message from Mr. Christian.
Spring sports are just around the corner. Find out what you need to know.
And in our Blue Zone update, tips for a perfect trail mix.
LMTV at Excelsior is next.
This is LMTV, Linn-Mar Television. Excelsior, your news starts now.
Welcome to LMTV at Excelsior. I'm Peter.
And I'm Kale.
Time now for today's top story. Spring is almost here.
And one sure sign of spring is spring sports.
LMTV's Kale tells us more. Kale?
If you want to go out for a spring sport, sign up in the office. There are spring sports for everyone. Track and field, girls tennis, or boys soccer. Practices begin after spring break. Keep listening to announcements for the very latest. Back to you.
Thanks, Kale.
And now time for an important message from our principal, Mr. Christian.
Hello, Excelsior. Just wanted to follow up a little bit on our PBIS store. As many of you know, last week we had to shut it down for a couple of days, and I'm not the principal that would punish the whole building because we had probably about a handful of kids that were illegally signing signatures on those cards. So I wanted to get back to everybody and tell those that have used it correctly, thank you. And number two is that store is an awesome point of turning in signatures and earning rewards, and I want to continue to keep that going. So again, thank you for using the cards and the signatures correctly, but I wanted you to know that we will be looking into that for those that did not use it correctly. So thank you for that, and let's continue to use that store correctly. I've spent a good amount of budget in that store, and I want everybody to have fun using it. And number two is, if you can do me one big favor, here in the recent months, probably since we got back from Christmas break, there is a lot of Jolly Rancher wrappers on the floor, and I just want to make sure that we're using good responsibility when we use those sort of things, that we are throwing them in the proper trash cans. So just two quick things on that. Again, the store will be open for everybody to use again. Those that cannot use it properly, we'll make sure we take care of it. And just the wrappers, if we want to continue to have candy in the store, I want to make sure that we are properly using the trash cans when we use that. So again, thank you for using the store in the proper way. And now, your PBIS Point of Information Minute for Mrs. Smith and Mr. Hayek.
Today's PBIS reminders focus on expectations in the bathroom. Now, we know this may not be one of your favorite topics to discuss, but let's face it, it is one of the most high traffic areas in the building, and it can be a messy one at that. So let's take a moment to remind you of our PBIS expectations.
Responsibility in the restrooms is demonstrated by leaving no trace. Please clean up after yourself. And last I checked, your mother doesn't live here. And even if she did, she should not have to clean up after you in the bathroom either. Keep it clean, gentlemen. You know what I mean.
Responsibility is demonstrated by flushing the stool. Yes, I mean poo. Yuck. Come on, Excelsior. You can do this. Flush.
Thank you, Your Majesty, Queen of the Poo. Please be sure to wash your hands. This is not for just your health, but it's also a sign of responsibility.
Show respect by valuing others' privacy and space in the bathroom. Do your duty and get on with your business. Flush, wash your hands, and get back to class.
Show respect in the restrooms by keeping the area clean. Just pick up after yourself.
Show integrity by getting in and out of the bathroom as quickly as possible. Don't hide out in the bathroom. You need to get back to class.
Thanks for your attention to this week's PBIS Point of Information Minute. Sweet chocolate.
Thanks, Mr. Hayek and Mrs. Smith.
In other news, big news for the Battle of the Books.
LMTV's Alexander explains. Alexander?
Put this in your phone so you don't forget. Yearbook pictures for the Battle of the Books participants will be taken on Thursday, March 10th at 7:50 a.m. in the library. Don't forget, that's the Battle of the Books yearbook pictures, Thursday, March 10th at 7:50 a.m. in the library.
Backbook Dynasty!
We rule! 3 years in a row.
Thanks, Alexander.
In sports, a big meet for the wrestlers.
And it's time to talk track.
Kyle has the details in the LMTV Excelsior Sports Report.
Any boys or girls planning to go out for track, come to an informational meeting Wednesday morning at 7:45 in the small gym. This is for athletes only. They will hand out clothing orders and other information. Any questions, demand to see is Mr. Frangella. In other sports, Thursday our wrestlers are on the road. They travel to Southwest Junior High in Iowa City. They face Southeast and Wilson Middle School. The meet starts at 3:45. That's this week's LMTV Excelsior Sports Report.
Here's a fun and tasty idea. Make your very own snack mix. Use dry whole grain cereal, dried fruit, and unsalted nuts or seeds. That way you'll just have the stuff you like in your trail mix. I'm Katie with this week's Blue Zone Update.
I'm Kale with this week's look at the arts at Excelsior. This week, the 5th through 8th grade orchestra solo and ensembles continue here at Excelsior. Saturday, our orchestra meets up with the Kennedy Honor Orchestra. Also Saturday, our show choir travels to Xavier for their show choir contest. That's the arts this week at Excelsior.
I'm Josh, and here's what the lunch crew is cooking up this week here at Excelsior. Monday, it's rotini and meat sauce. Tuesday, check out the flatbread chicken fajitas. Beef nachos are featured on Wednesday. Thursday, it's Sloppy Joe sandwiches. And Friday, try the fish sandwich. That's lunch this week at Excelsior.
That's a wrap for this week's edition of LMTV at Excelsior.
On behalf of the entire cast and crew, thanks for watching.
Have a great week.
I now knight you, Sir Poops a Lot.
Oh.